You know what happened to me the other day? One of my students sent me her essay for B2 first. And when I saw the text, I immediately smelled some BS. The grammar and vocabulary were just way too good for this level. A quick check confirmed my suspicions. The text had been written by AI. I told the student to write the text again in their own words. And of course, that's what happened and everything was okay. So you might think now that I really don't like AI, but let me tell you, the opposite is actually true. I'm a big fan. Of course, I want my students to write their own texts, because once they do the official exam, they also can't use any help. So they should practice on their own. But I also believe that in your preparation for your Cambridge test, AI tools can be really useful. So today, I'm going to show you my 2 favorite AI tools that can help you in your preparation. So at the end of this video, you will be able to use them as well. Hi and welcome to Teacher Phil, where I help people like you pass their Cambridge exam. Let's start with the most obvious AI tool, ChatGPT. There are probably a million ways you can use it for in your exam preparation, but one that I really like is exam task practice. My students always ask me where they can find exam-style tasks so they can prepare for their own test. And let me tell you, ChatGPT can do exactly that for you. You can simply use a prompt like this one, and just like that, ChatGPT creates a task for you. You can then complete the task yourself, and as you can see, it either delivers the answers straight with it, or sometimes you might have to ask. It always depends. Once you've checked your answers, of course, there might be some that are not 100% clear to you. So you can simply ask ChatGPT. For example, you can say, can you explain the answers, please? Of course, we are always nice to ChatGPT. And then it gives you an explanation of each answer and why we need to use those specific words in the different gaps. It's that easy. Simply ask ChatGPT for a task and it will give it to you. By the way, all the prompts I use in this video, I will leave for you in the description box below so you can use them as well. When I study Spanish, I often ask ChatGPT to help me with my writing. ChatGPT can assume any role you want, so you can ask it to become your Cambridge writing examiner. If you reflect that in your prompt, there shouldn't be any problem. You can see this is my prompt where I ask ChatGPT to be a Cambridge English writing examiner. I also specify what kind of task I'm providing it with, and I also name the different marking criteria, because I found if you're not specific, ChatGPT might just make up categories or marking criteria. But I also asked it to give me some general feedback on positive and negative aspects. Then I've also added the essay itself, and you can see I didn't add a task because you need the paid version of ChatGPT to do that. So in most cases, I guess most of you don't pay for ChatGPT. So it also works without providing the task. But of course, you need to take the assessment with a grain of salt. And then you can see, once you scroll down, so ChatGPT has already generated everything. It gives you a mark estimate. Again, you shouldn't take that for a sure mark for your writing, because after all, ChatGPT is not really a Cambridge examiner. It hasn't been trained in this. So I think the grades or the marks are secondary here. But what it does very well is to talk about strengths and possible improvements in each area. And I think that it is spot on when it comes to that. And it also can give you here again The overall marks, again, don't worry about that too much, plus some final feedback. So I think just to get a better idea of your writing, ChatGPT can be helpful, even though the information might not be the most accurate you can get. If you want some feedback from a more human perspective, then I can certainly help you as well. You can check out my writing feedback, where I can help you improve your writing skills. Just send me your text and I give you some detailed information on all your strengths as well as your weaknesses. The link is in the description box below. The third thing I often use ChatGPT for is to help me with my grammar and vocabulary. When I read a book or listen to a podcast, I always add new words or expressions to a note-taking app on my phone. Once I finish the book or the podcast, I then take all these expressions and I ask ChatGPT to help me with definitions, examples, as well as the pronunciation of these words. Simply put a prompt like this one into ChatGPT with the words or expressions that are new for you. And just like that, ChatGPT can give you definitions, example sentences, as well as the pronunciation for all those different words. So now you might wonder how all this information can help you with your grammar and vocabulary. And that's where my second favorite app comes into play, Anki. Anki is a very powerful app that helps you practice your grammar and vocabulary by creating flashcards that you can then use for your own practice. So on the left, you can see the words with the definitions, examples and pronunciation from earlier. And on the right, you can see that I've opened Anki on my computer as well. You can see I already have a couple of decks of flashcards there. At the moment, I'm focusing on my advanced Spanish. But very simply, if you want to get started, you can create a deck. If you go to the bottom of the window, we can create a deck and we can give it a name. In this case, we can, for example, just call it English. Now you can see we have here an English deck, and if you click on that, we can start adding flashcards. At the top, you have different options, and if you click on Add, you will see, and I will bring this over here. Give me 1 second, I have to share that new window with you, I believe. So then it opens this up. And here you can create your flashcards. And the easiest thing to do is you can simply copy and paste the information from ChatGPT over to Anki. So first of all, you want to add the word where it says word. You can later on add a picture, for example, from Google word search, from Google image search, or you can ask ChatGPT to create one for you. Yeah, that is also a possibility. Where it looks at all these things here, in my case, it talks about gender and personal connection. You can add the definition, just like that. And you can also add the example. I always like to leave a line. So these things are on the other side of the flashcard. And we can also copy and paste the pronunciation in here. So now a word like ubiquitous is possibly also a little bit difficult to spell. So in the last field where it says test spelling, if you leave a Y, you can simply have your spelling tested. So you can, as I said, add a picture as well, but for now we don't need to do this. Once we're done, we can just click add at the bottom of the picture, at the bottom of the window, and the flashcard gets added. So now, when we go back to our decks, and just give it a second to change over, you can now see that our English deck has some new cards here. So now, if we go and study those cards, then you can see that it asks us for this word. Yeah, it asks us for ubiquitous, so that is on one side of the flashcard, and now you have to try to remember the information on the other side of the card. So you can think about this for as long as you want, and when you're ready, you can click on Show Answer at the bottom of the window, and you get the back of the flashcard. So now the most powerful thing about Anki is that you can tell the application how difficult it was for you to remember all this information. If you say, I just didn't know, I couldn't remember, you can just click on again, and you see that within the next minute, you will see that flashcard again. At the beginning, of course, the time intervals are pretty short, but if you felt like it was very easy to recall the information, and you click easy, then you will see this flashcard again in 5 days from now. The intervals become longer and longer the more often you practice those words. So the application makes sure that you only practice a word before you are about to forget it. And that's what makes it so powerful to practice with this. So I hope this helped you a little bit. But yeah, let's go back and let's continue. So in this example, I've only created a couple of flashcards. But once you read a whole book, of course, you might have a longer list of expressions. But there are ways to create flashcards very quickly and very easily. I will leave a link to a super useful video in the description where Language Girl explains how you can create a lot of flashcards in a very short time. And just like that, you have 2 very powerful AI tools to help you with your own exam preparation. And now you might need a little bit of inspiration, so why not start with the expressions from this video here? And I'll see you there in a moment.